Good evening, guys. It is Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. This Bathrobe business. I got my coffee and I got some news. So, another tumultuous day on the market. Still tons of uncertainty about tariffs. There's a bunch of economic indicators, a few of which I'll share with you guys here, that are showing pretty bad outlooks for the United States economy, but kind of nothing new. So, let's jump into the major headlines. So, first story I want to cover is once again gold. So gold is continuing to march up. It is currently sitting just below 3,300. It's literally just changed right now. It's 32.99. So it's $1 away from being at another all-time high of 3,300. Just from yesterday, it's up another 50 bucks. So yeah, it's continuing this march, and it's probably going to keep continuing as we still have clear uncertainty as to what's going to happen with the tariffs. Now, there's a few developments coming out of China that are very interesting. The first of which is China's first quarter GDP completely crushed it. China first quarter GDP grew by 5.4%, and their annual percentage growth is now set at 7.7. Now, there is a little inflation in these numbers, and I'll show you why in just a second. However, this still just shows how strong China has become. We're over here barely able to crack 2 or 3 percentage points in a quarter, and they're double and tripling that amount. And it doesn't seem like they're being affected by these tariffs as much as they would have been just a couple of decades ago. A lot of people have argued that these tariffs should have happened several administrations ago. That the Clinton administration, I'm sorry, not the Clinton administration, the Nancy Pelosi warned about this, that the Obama administration warned about this, but nothing ever came to fruition. And now China is just too powerful to stop. But so far, they are seeing very, very strong growth and predicting strong growth of 5% annually for the year as well. Now, why I say there's some inflation in these numbers. A lot of manufacturers knew that the tariffs were coming one way or another. They didn't know what form or percentage they would take, so they over-ordered on a lot of materials. This article clearly underpins that. So Apple airlifted about $2 billion worth of iPhones out of India, not necessarily China, but they do have manufacturing in India as well. It is still a Foxconn facility. It's just in India rather than in China. But they airlifted about $2 billion worth of iPhones out of the country before the tariffs set in place. And if Apple is doing it, many other manufacturers are, especially those that are heavily reliant on manufacturing in China. So that number is going to be partially inflated. However, a good number is still a good number, and I can't take that away from them. Another story I want to share with you guys is what's going on with airlines. So United Airlines gave 2025 outlooks, calling for saying that the economy is impossible to predict. Now, what's interesting here is they gave kind of the high number and the low number. They're saying, well, if the economy keeps going well, then we'll see, earnings per share of about $1.50. So price range between $11 and $13. If it goes poorly, it's $7 and $9. That's not really the important part of this article. The important part of this article is further down, where it's talking about how they did have a good quarter. However, most of their income has come from high ticket prices, premium ticket prices and first class prices. So those higher end ticket sales are what's actually driving growth. This isn't a new trend. We've seen this trend slowly over the last several months formulate, but domestic travel is down and coach travel is down, and it's really their premium products that are up. What's scary is that it's also happening with Delta. So this is not a good sign for the economy. This does show that there is a lot of worry and a lot of instability in the middle class, because that's generally who's purchasing a lot of these tickets. Your premium tickets are selling just fine, but unfortunately, your coach and lower ticket prices are not. I always look at travel as a good indicator of where the economy is headed. When travel is strong, when hospitality and leisure is strong, that means the economy is doing well. There's different trends in the market. One thing will be more common than the other, but people like to take vacations. And if those numbers are going down, that's not a good thing. Another really bad indicator that's happening right now is with the S&P. So I didn't bring up this article because I think it's just really a blurb, but essentially the S&P is crossing the 200-day and 50-day moving average. In fact, I guess I'll bring up the article just to show you guys what I'm talking about. So here it is. They call it the death cross. I mean, it's a bit of an exaggeration, as everything is with Wall Street, but what I think is important is it shows the momentum of the economy. So if you look at this chart right here, the 50-day moving average has crossed with the 200-day moving average. In other words, not only is the S&P not accelerating, it's decelerating and dropping. This is used to show what the trend in the economy is. So the trend in the overall economy is very negative, which is kind of ironic because in China, it's incredibly positive. So we're not really hurting ourselves with these tariffs. I'm sorry, we're hurting ourselves with these tariffs, not so much China. So also a very bad indicator. So more and more, we're getting very, very negative indicators of what's going on with these tariffs. Again, I'm not necessarily completely opposed to tariffs. I am a free trade guy, so I always lean on that side, but you can have a good tariff policy. It can work. There's arguments to be made for it, but whatever those arguments are, I'm not seeing it here. That's pretty much all I'm going to focus on today. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an outlook on where I think the economy is headed. I think it is headed in a negative direction. Again, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of every single tariff. They changes by the day, but I think these articles kind of give you a greater idea of what market forces are doing right now. That's pretty much it. So that's today's video. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow, and I hope you have a productive Wednesday. Bye.